Hi there, and welcome to our weekly market update. My name is Ronaldo from Advanced Super Trader Education. Please note that these videos are for educational purposes only and not to be taken for advice. Trading in general is risky, and so don't trade if you cannot afford to lose. Also note that past performance is not indicative of future results. And if you need to know more about our terms and conditions, please visit our website at www.esdetrader.com. Same time, if you like these videos, please make sure to subscribe and give a like button. And other than that, let's begin and let's start. So last week, if you've been following our videos, there's our market updates. By the way, notice that we're pretty much spot on in terms of our forecasting. So looking at a weekly market, the weekly chart right here of the S&P 500, we'll start first with the macros actually before we go through the S&P. So for the news, you notice that in terms of in Canada, they have a federal election tomorrow. And then 6:30 p.m., these are all Pacific Standard Time. Monetary policy meeting minutes will be in Australia. And Japan will have a monetary policy statement on Tuesday, Bank of Japan press conference. Wednesday is going to be a very busy day, so it's going to be a good day for trading. You have crude oil inventories at 7:30. At 11 o'clock, we have FOMC economic projections, FOMC statement, federal funds rate. So we're going to trade this definitely live. By the way, if you want to be part of our community for free, where you get daily updates, if you like this type, there we get daily updates, some trading tips. Make sure to follow our channel via Telegram, and the link is actually below. Okay, so check the links below if you want to join our channel or our trading community basically for free. And Thursday, Swiss will have SB monetary policy assessment, policy rate. Euro will have a few medium and high impact news actually. French and German flash manufacturing PMI. And then the pound will have high impact news right there from asset purchase facility, monetary policy summary, asset purchase facility votes, official bank rate votes, and then back to the Canadian news, where core retail sales, and then unemployment claims, and flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI. So be aware of that. Then Friday, Federal Chairman Powell is going to speak. So there's quite a few there in terms of high impact news for the week. So just be aware of those. All right, so let's look then at the S&P 500. Looking at last week was bearish, and it actually broke out on the 23.6 in terms of retracement. I just took the last major impulse right here. I know there's 1, 2, 3, but the major one I'm just taking right there from this point to that point. Projection is approximately around the 43.54 for the 38.2. So I believe there's more room in order for that to happen. And notice in terms of the increase in actually volume through there. So it's there's quite a lot of activity going on based on the markets at this point. And then you have those high impact news. So be aware of those. From a very big impulse since 2020, right here, 2020. So the major one so far is a 36.46 around this area, which is a really solid area of demand at this point. So notice as well that it broke out on the trends as a trend follower, and notice in terms of the trend, it actually did break it. So I won't be surprised that this is going to come back down short term, and then it's going to come back up before it will start to deplete. So shorter term, I am waiting for a correction. I believe there's some opportunity for correction at this point in time. You have a really good area of demand here between 43.75 and say 4400. So that's not that far off, and you have a very bearish candle there last Friday. And mind you, this is basically on the futures price and what's happening, what's sticking at this point. The Dow Jones, on the other hand, notice as well that there was a very bearish move last week. So in my opinion, there's more room for this to head back around the 34,000 all the way to around the 33,500 mark. So there's that within that area from a weekly time frame perspective. Notice as well the price is at demand. So Could it break out further? If it breaks out, then the price will definitely go on 34,200 from what we stated as well, the 34,000 through there. Based on the volatility index of the S&P last week was very bullish right there. I'm still bullish actually in actual fact with the volatility index. Notice in terms as well for the daily time frame after those correction continuation. So I won't be surprised if the volatility index will continue all the way to fill in those gaps right here. But of course, there's also a possibility from a stability point of view, because the S&P is way over, getting to the way oversold at this point in time as well. So, but it's getting there. It's almost there in actual fact. Dollar index, on the other hand, was very bullish. So I have no doubt that it's going to go to around the 93.50. Question now is, can they break out at 93.72.9? Odds and probability to do so is more than likely, since it's basically in an uptrend at this point in time. So if it breaks through there, it can go all the way to medium to longer term around 96, 96.50 is the basically projection of the dollar index from a forecasting point of view. Okay, so I'm bullish still with the dollar index. Oil, there's from a form of correction there from the daily time frame, but from a weekly point of view, very bullish, approaching a level supply theory around the $73, $74 a barrel. However, anything can happen as far as I'm concerned, that this can also continue, but I'm still keeping an eye on these two very bearish candles through there. One, stability, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 candles versus 2 or 3, if you're including the doji. So odds and probability it may continue to go further down here is highly probable as well. So despite very bullish last week, odds and probability from a continuation point of view, there's odds through there, but because of this very bearish candle, there's also the possibility that this is going to drop. And if the dollar index will continue, then I'll be bearish with oil even further. So can go over in the $70 a barrel, and then to touch simply around here on 67, 68. Crude oil is also the same, in my opinion, around 74 all the way to 73. But the weekly shows a very bullish kind of from a breakout point of view. And we'll see from there, can they go all the way and break out within that high at 77.82. There's a possibility it would do that, depending on what the crude oil inventory is going to happen basically on Wednesday. And noticing from here, from a weekly, from that high right there, 76.12, 76.10. So like 2 cents. So it's a hit or miss, but nevertheless, from a daily time frame. So here's in terms of microscopic level, if it's still a lower high, then this is also going to be a correction, lower high, then either a higher low or lower low somewhere sometime in the future. All right, so that's with oil. Gold, you can see there, Friday or last week was very bearish from 2 weeks ago as well. Now with the price being at a level of demand, but in my opinion, they have to fill in these blanks with especially this lower shadow right there. So it has some opportunity to go to 1724 all the way down to around the 1681 mark. So I'm still bearish medium to long term with gold, and that makes sense because the dollar index is actually very bullish, stabilizing itself last Friday. Is there more room for this to head back? In my opinion, yes, but also looking in terms of this one from a correctional standpoint. So there's also that possibility. Prices at demand through here. Could be a correction before continuation of the drop, but if this one breaks out, bam, it is going to continue around 1723 all the way to, simply put there on the 1710, $1,700 basically an ounce. All right, so that's with gold. Let's look now at copper. Copper at this point is also very bearish from last week. In my opinion, there's some more bearish moves all the way back to $4 an ounce through there. And then daily time frame, same, stabilizing at demand at this point. So I won't be surprised this will correct before it can continue. But if it breaks out this demand, then all the way down to that $4, basically a $4 an ounce through there. Now we're looking at treasury yield. There's a 30-year treasury bond yield. So there's a possibility that this is going to continue to go to the upside from here because it forms a hammer. And from a hammer perspective, you have a lot of buying pressure to the upside before It's a good sign, because looking at the daily time frame, you can see through there's very bullish. Yes, a bunch of higher lows, but also from a lower high perspective, from a correctional standpoint before I can continue. All right, so that's with the TYX. Let's go through then with the majors. So since gold is still very bearish, in my opinion, there is, from looking at it, from a very bearish move from a dark cloud cover, notice a continuation. Price can go all the way to 71 here within either create a new higher low or lower high, but since still also a downtrend since February, odds and probability to head towards around 70 is more than likely to happen. That's another 240 pips to the downside. Not looking good, since the dollar index is actually also very powerful, very strong. All right, so still bearish with it, but notice in terms of 62 percentile, I won't be surprised from a correctional standpoint before it can continue. Euro against the US dollar, looking at the weekly, very bearish. There's a really good demand here around that 117 area. And if it breaks out all the way down to 116 within that price. Okay, so still within a downtrend. Daily time frame, it is at demand. So right at this point in time, there's quite a few reports as well. I'm going to stay away for now with that. All right, so with the euro, it's approaching demand, so there could be an opportunity for buying. Pound against the US dollar, lower high all the way back down to 136. So there's approximately another 100 pips to the downside. So I'm bearish with it as well. And notice it broke out through around here, the 60th percentile. And next is the 36, 37. It's not long, it's not that far. It breaks out there all the way down to that 136 mark. Kiwi, weekly, bearish. I'm bearish with it. Created a baseline evening star through there, looking really nice. Still based on the downtrend, back down to 168. Question is, can they create a new lower low or higher low? So we'll see when that happens. Currently within the 38.2 percentile from a retracement correctional perspective. Next is at 98.77, 69.87.7. And then going here too, around that 69.44.6. All right, so that's with the Kiwi against the US dollar. Dollar CAD. So we're still basically bullish with this. After that breakout basically happened, next price point that they're gonna reach is this 129.49. So that was happened basically last month. Odds and probability from the new higher low to higher highs more than likely, and they are pushing it to go to that 130.23 to 38.2. So we're still holding those positions at this point as well. Clear breakout last Friday, all the way next now from supply level. Can they break it at 128? If it breaks out once again with this, and then next is through the major one is that all the way to 129.50. Dollar Swiss was a nice one, very bullish, clear breakout. Next 94 all the way to that high 94.72. I'm bullish still with the dollar Swiss because I'm bullish with the dollar index. Okay, from the daily time frame is still going. Next one is approximately around that 93.50 to 93.60. So that's approximately what 30 to 40 pips to the upside. Last but not the least, dollar against Japanese yen, based on a weekly time frame, created a hammer. So I'm still very bearish with this as well. Not as good from a consolidation standpoint. A lot of very bearish candle. Possibility that this will head back around that 109. Just be aware though that it's also still very bullish from this point of view. So notice this low 109.11.2, 109.41.2, 11.2, 109.11.3. So this one created a new lower low. So there's another opportunity here. It's really actually for about selling when it reaches about that 110, 110.20, but it's going to be aware with this one because it might be a lower high. So from there could be another opportunity for shorting. All right, so that's my report for the weekly market update. My name is Ronaldo. If you like this or what you're watching, please make sure to subscribe. And also keep an eye for our free events, a free webinar. So last one we had was about nutrition. If you attended it, congratulations. It was a really good one. I also learned a lot of a good piece of information of what Cynthia basically stated in terms of performance. Other than that, guys, thank you. Have a great week. Make sure to plan your trades out, risk management, keep being awesome. Take care until next time. Happy trading. Bye now.